Hi again. Hope everybody's doing well. I wanted to do kind of part two. Last week we made these very cool vellum card front cards where we embossed the vellum and added that on. So if you want to watch that video, I have put the link to it in the chat so that you can see how to make these. They come out really nice. Okay, but I thought, you don't have to use vellum to do this. You could use designer series paper. So I thought I'd make a few today. And the measurements are the same. That's why I just left up the regular piece of paper that I had up last time. So our card base is just going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So a quarter of a regular 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of paper. So I'm using here the pale papaya. And then instead of vellum on the front, we're going to use a piece of designer series paper. So I have cut it at 4 1/4 by 6. Actually, I wanted to do 6 so that I could get, the paper's 12 inches long. So this way I can get 2. And then you're just going to score it at a 1/2 inch. I don't think I wrote that in last time. Score. Well, we're going to score at 5 1/2 because that's how long you need it so that it's going to match this. Okay, so last time we added the vellum to the front. This time we're just going to add the designer series paper to the front. Whoops. It's really easy. It's a very easy card, but it gives it just a little bit extra something to it. Okay, so now we have the card front and we have the inside of the card. And this way, again, you'll get to see both sides of the designer series paper. So just like before, so that we're kind of covering up the seam here, you're going to add a piece of white on the inside. That's 4 by 5 1/4. Now this one, I went ahead and took the hand-penned dies and cut the little scallop along the edge because I think that looks really cute. Sometimes just adding a little something along the edge, making it decorative, can make all the difference. Okay, so there's the inside. And then on the front, instead of adding just the white piece like I did before, I thought I would just add some of these hand-penned blooms, I guess, that I cut out. I just noticed I've got a piece of this on the paper, but I'm going to cover it up, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I already stamped and colored a piece of this. And let me get some of my, all I have out are the mini glue dots, or the mini dimensionals, but that's okay. You always think you have everything out and ready, and then you go, oops, forgot something. All right, that's okay. Take a pick tool to get the paper off of the dimensionals. It's the easiest way I've found, because otherwise, you're kind of pulling on your fingernails to try to get it off. Okay, so then I'm just going to put that on there, and that will cover that little piece of ink I found on the paper. And then I cut out I don't know how well you can see this, cut the cutout also out of that shimmer vellum that's so pretty. And I need to take some of the liquid glue and put that on the back of it. I usually keep a sponge just for the glue. There we go. I even have it labeled. See, it says glue. And I'll put some on the back of this. That will help to stick the vellum here. There we go. I didn't have a lot of glue on there, but I think I've got enough for it to stay. So see, this now makes a really pretty card front. Instead of using the vellum, we just used the designer series paper and still added the piece to the middle. So using the exact same measurements and just using the designer paper instead of the vellum, you can make another very interesting card. Okay, so then I thought, well, let's do another one. This is some older paper, and it's retired, but I think it's really pretty, and I love this paper. So I have this, and this is cut at, let's see, 4 1/4 by 11. So that when I fold it in half, now I've got a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is like a regular sheet of paper. And then I'm going to still mount it on my card base. That's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to put this whole thing on there. You know, sometimes the paper is so pretty, you hate to cover up one of the sides. So we've done a couple cards where you can see the designer paper on both sides. And this will be another one of those. Okay, so now I've got my card back. It's also the base, helping to keep it sturdy. But when I open, I'm seeing all of the inside of the designer series paper. So then, oh, I didn't take a piece of white. Okay, so then I would take a piece. No, I know that I did. I wonder where I put it. Well, I would take a piece of the white and add to the inside. Oh, here it is. It's right over here. Right next to me. But instead of making it the regular 4 by 5 1/4, I wanted to show off a little more of the paper around it. So I cut off an inch on each side so that I could see more of the designer paper. So just keep in mind, you can always make modifications. Okay, and then on the front, I'm just going to put a little piece of black and add some daisies to the front. Okay, and I did those in Bumblebee, which is the color that's in here. So before I put this on, I'm going to add them here. And I want the little petals to be movable, so I'm only putting the glue on the inside of the flower. And I punched 2 of them, and then kind of, you offset them. So it just looks like there's more petals. Well, there are more petals. It doesn't just look that way. You don't always have to put a greeting on the front. Sometimes when I make cards, I'll make a lot like this, and I don't know if I'm going to use it for a birthday or a thank you or whatever. So I'll make the card and not necessarily make or put the words in it. Now, I wanted to put the black inside, and although the 1/2 inch is a little bit large, the 1/4 inch to me wasn't large enough. So, and actually this looks like more like 3/4, but no, it's 1/2. So I went ahead and used the 1/2 inch. I don't know what would be perfect, maybe 3/8, but I don't have a 3/8 punch, so I'm going to make the insides black, and then I thought I would add, remember these from the sunflowers that we used to be able to get? I still have a few of them left, so I thought maybe I'd add one of those to the inside. They're stuck on here pretty well. And that way it would be surrounded by the black, so you could still see it. But it also gives it then a little bit of, just take it off with my pick tool. Takes, you can see the dimension for the inside of the flower. And you could pop these up if you'd really like. I'm just going to add them to the front like this. And because I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to put the adhesive on the front of the card, which I usually don't do because you don't want to make sure you don't go over, where it needs to be. But I'm living on the danger zone today, I guess. Okay, so then you get the card and it's just got the little flowers and then the inside just says smile. Okay, so that's basically the same card, just instead of cutting it off here, I went ahead and used the whole piece of Designer Series paper. So I have one more, and I wanted to make this one kind of masculine. So this one, again, we're going to use the base. That's the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, this one. But I only want to have the front be half of the card. Instead of having the piece that covers the whole front, like we did on these, I only want this one. So I'm going to need the front half. Again, it's got to be 5 1/2. So I'm going to take my trimmer and score it at 5 1/2. And that then I'm going to add to my card base. Okay, so now instead of the whole piece lifting up, I've only got part of the piece lifting up, and I'll show you. I wanted this to be more of a masculine card, so I'm using that, I think it's called In Good Taste. That's got all these textured papers. So that's, the back of this one. I thought they went together really nice. Now you could do it either way, but I think I decided I wanted the tile on the inside and the burlappy looking on the outside. All right, so again, by covering this up, I'm covering so you don't notice so much that piece there. Then I wanted to take this piece, and it's 5 1/2 by 2 1/4, I believe. 2 1/4, yes. And I'm going to add it to the front because my flap this time was cardstock. And now I'm just decorating. And I didn't want to leave a border on the top and bottom, just on the sides. So now you've got the same kind of card, and I could have used a different color here or anything. That's the nice part about using the two separate pieces, is so the front piece doesn't have to be the same. It is this time, but it doesn't have to be. And then on the inside, I can put this, and I just want to make sure that it's going to be covered, see, by the flap. A lot of people like to make cards that have only a little area on the inside, so you don't have to think about as much to write, which is funny. Okay, and then I just put, may your birthday be memorable. Cut that out, and then I cut out, we don't have another one that's would be a little bit larger than this. So just remember, you can cut the same one out twice. And then you can either cut it this way, or I'm going to do it long ways this time, just to offset it a little bit. And that way I'm kind of getting a mat, even though I don't have two separate punches. Yeah. Kind of gives you double duty, There we go. And then I think I will put this one up too, but I'm going to use these straight ones since all I have out are my little mini dimensionals. I'll just use a piece of the strips. That'd be nice to pop that up. Now, if you'd wanted to not pop it up, you could have gone just like on half and half. That would have been cool. You know, there's always options about where you want to place your focal point or your words or whatever you're doing. I think I'm going to keep, I don't want that in the middle. I think I want it down here. Okay, so now again, same thing here. And you could have on this one, I suppose, just cut off this piece, but it's a nice way to be able to make the card, just making that extra little half-inch or inch flap here that you can put down and then put something to cover it. So we made this week this one where we have half the front of the off, you know, and then we made this one where we actually used a whole piece of designer series paper that's 4 1/4 by 11. All right, and then we did one that was exactly like the vellum cards we did last week, where the DSP is just a little bit longer, and you scored at 5 1/2 so that will close. So whether you use designer series paper or you use the vellum like we did last week, I just think this is a really cool, easy card to make, but gives you, you know, just that little bit something extra. Let somebody know that you're thinking about it. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon.